This is Lance from NerfThis.TV. Today we're doing a little bit of a discussion. This is a new line of videos that I wanted to put together for a while now, and you must let me know if this is something that you would like to see more of, and we can do more of them. Basically today we're going to discuss 8K video. Why would anybody use it? Why have people gone out and spent 100,000 euros on a camera that can shoot 8K when they're delivering 4K? So let's start off with basically what is 8K. So 1080 by 1920, that's the resolution that you're probably watching this in. I produce these videos in 4K UHD, because there's two flavors of 4K, but the most well known and the used one is UHD, which is 3840 by 2160, which is exactly 4 times full HD. So your full HD can fit into one corner. Now 8K is exactly double that again. So my 4K can now fit into a corner, 1/4 of the 8K frame. The 8K is 7680 across the top, 4320 down the side. So of course my 4K can sit into one little corner of that. Now that's a whole lot of resolution, and a lot of people always go, why would you bother shooting in that type of resolution? There's only a few TVs these days that can actually even show 8K video, and they cost an arm and a leg. There are some YouTubers which have spent basically $100,000/euros on red cameras that shoot 8K, full frame, all the lovely bells and whistles that Red charges you an arm and a leg to attach to that camera, and they wind up spending 100K. Why would they do that? What is the benefit of 8K? Apart from the obvious that maybe they are not just shooting YouTube videos, maybe they're actually doing full work where they're shooting advertising material or even films or documentaries or that type of thing, where 8K you're getting the best bang for your buck basically. The reason that you'd use that 8K is in post-processing more than, you know, uploading it to YouTube in 8K. Let's face it, there's very few bandwidth out there that could deal with that type of streaming, let alone actually seeing it in its full beauty. So let's get back to why people would even use 8K. Let's say I, as you know, shoot my stuff in 4K. Now if I want to do a pan shot of a product, so we have a product and I want to do the normal panning from left to right or right to left or up to down or whatever the case is across the product slowly, just to give it a nice visual effect for that shot. What I'd have to do is I'd physically have to have the proper equipment so that I could nice and smoothly pan with my camera, physically doing the shot, because I'm shooting in 4K and I'm actually releasing in 4K. What somebody that's shot in 8K can do is they can just put it into Final Cut or Premiere Pro or whatever your choice is of editor, and they can physically zoom in twice, so you know, basically zoom into a 4K frame on that 8K footage and actually physically do it within the software, so they get a perfect pan every time. They can take it and they can pan the frame across in 4K because they are releasing in 4K, but they're shooting it in 8K. There's a lot of shots like that that you can do. So if I wanted to do a nice zoom in shot, I physically have to, with great care, try and zoom in with my lens to get that type of shot. They don't. They can do all these fancy effects. They can zoom into a character's face if they want to do a close-up. They can pan across. They can, all these nice things that I would have to manually do with the proper equipment or a very steady hand, which I don't have. Then they can do it in post-processing, so they can just zoom into the person, and more importantly, they don't lose any quality because they've got such a lot to work with. Zooming into 4K, they're not losing any quality to do that. Whereas me, with my 4K footage, if I zoom in on that footage, I'm losing quality every step of that zoom. Whereas somebody that's using an 8K footage, they're not going to lose any quality whatsoever. So that's the main benefit, is all that post-processing. If they wanted to capture one shot of an entire conversation, so they shoot it in 4K, and you've got a person sitting this side, you've got a person sitting that side, and they're talking to each other. But you want to zoom in to the person that's actually talking at the time, instead of having 2 or 3 different cameras shooting different angles at shooting that person, shooting that person, shooting the overall shot. They can do it with one camera. So they can take that, they can zoom in 4K, no loss of quality on that person, and then this person starts talking, they can just pan across, and they've now got his face in frame, and again, they're not losing any quality. So that is the major advantage of shooting 8K. So I suppose the question is then, is it even worth it? And in certain scenarios, I suppose it is. If you are going to be shooting professional jobs and the money is there to justify spending 100,000 euros on a piece of equipment like that, then that's fine. But if you're like me and you're shooting small jobs, or you're doing training videos or wedding videos or anything like that, where you don't really need that type of power, you know, you're not doing nature photography where every bit of resolution counts, you can get a lot of really great equipment for that type of money. You can get 5, 10 cameras which are costing you 2.5, 4, 5 grand with a nice lens, monitors that do the recording for you and all this type of things, and you can spend a lot of money and still not come close to that 100,000. So it's really what you need, what you want out of it, that dictates whether you're going to go and spend 100,000 on a red camera just so I can shoot 8K footage. Also remember that the cost of the camera is only one of the costs. You now need to process some really heavy footage, which requires a really decent piece of machinery behind it. Way more than any 4K would do. I can shoot 4K and I can edit it on an iPad. Don't even think that I can do raw footage from a red camera in 8K for my iPad. My iPad would explode. And so would most of the equipment that I have in the office here. So the costs are quite big if you want to go that route. But for some, it may actually be worth it. Whether it's worth it or not, I'll leave that up to you to decide what your situation is, or if you're even interested. Please leave a like, subscribe, click the little bell, and I'll catch you on the next video.